Alright, so I apologize if I don't sound like my normal self. Uh, it's a long story. It's nothing really bad, though. I just got a booster shot. So, yeah. Other than that, here's what might be my last pack of Miis. Like, I'm not going to make any promises, obviously. I want it to be my last pack, but, yeah. So here we go. I'm gonna start off with An, who's inspired by Adam Crossing's Me, Angela, Akadi, Aku, who's inspired by Chloe's Me, Antares, who's inspired by Joseph's Me, Ashley, who I know I've shown off before. I made a little edit to his design, so yeah. Audra, Bao, Ben, Beth, who's inspired by Fernando's Me, Bolton, who's inspired by Gex Getta's Me, Ji Woon, Brooklyn, Cadence, who's inspired by Eric's Me, Haru, Kane, who's inspired by Billy Noodle's Me, Cheyenne, China, who's inspired by Eric's Me, Negris, Cho, Corey, who's inspired by Libra's Me, Frederic, Credence, who's inspired by the We Me Guys Me, Rhonda, Daisuke, who's inspired by Slippery Max Me, Delaney, Deep, who's inspired by Michelle's Me, Kaito, Doe, Dominic, who's inspired by Cowman, Dysnomia, Eddie, Ella, Emil, who's inspired by Gex Ghetto's Avatar, Emiliano, who's inspired by the Weemy Guys Me, Istvan, Etienne, who's inspired by Adam Crossing's Me, Muchi Kufu, Fern, who's the mix of the Weemy Guys Me's Ludolf and Niobe, Frey, Freude, who's inspired by Libra's Me, Polinu, Fuji, Fumihiro, Georgia, Hachiro, who's inspired by New Cat's New Me design, Harlow, Hayden, Heather, who's inspired by Michelle's Me, Elaine, Hay, Hildegard, Ilke, Iridia, who's inspired by Mero's Snowy Me, Jace, Yetta, Joker, Kaho, who's inspired by Adam Crossing's Me, Mai, Kaoru, who's inspired by Michelle's Me, Soraya, Kepler, who's inspired by Justin's Me, Justin from a TWD 98, Kokoro, Koyo, who's inspired by Adam Crossing's Me, Musachiki, Kuiper, who's inspired by Eric's Me, Chibina, Lake, who's inspired by Enmead's Me, Legacy, Ling Ling, who's inspired by Adam Crossing's Me, Maddie, Lodi, or Lodi, I don't know which one's correct, Lodovico, Mahuyu, who's inspired by Michelle's Me, Risako, Meidi, who's inspired by Kartoffel Core's Me, Miu, Monroe, who's inspired by David Slane's Me, Mutahar, Nana, Nolan, who's inspired by Libra's Me, Carlos, ASEAN, who's inspired by Gex Getta's Me, Ting Ting, Odyssey, Opal, Percy, who's inspired by Libra's Me, Carl, Peyton, who's inspired by Desi's Me, Diggy, Ponyo, Kashwe, I'm just gonna say it like that, I don't know the actual pronunciation, Ksenia, who's inspired by Libra's Me, Eddie, Raisuke, Reiko. I'm gonna have a tough time with this one since it's the German pronunciation, but Richard, I don't know. He's inspired by he's inspired by Merryweather from Ethiopia. Risa, Roy, Ruslana, Sarasate, who's inspired by the Weemy Guys New Me design. Serenity, Shenha, who's inspired by Adam Crossing's Me, Manuel, Sirius, Sonora, who's inspired by Libra's Me, Jade. Also, I want to say something about Sirius. He is related to my Mario Kart 7 me, Dirk, so in some ways at least. I know their nationalities are different, but yeah, it's a long story. Steven Takata, who's inspired by Bugsy's Me. Tim Ting Ting. I know these two are similar, but she's inspired by Gex Ghetto's Me. Sophie Tong Uhyuk, who's inspired by Flag K's Me. Ujarak, who's inspired by Vani's Me. Uma, who's inspired by Gex Ghetto's Me. Hana Velos, who's inspired by Adam Crossing's Me. Corey. Wilma, who's the mix of the Weemy Guys Me's Cadence and Kaede. Sorry. Zolani, who's inspired by Bro Fun's Avatar. Zuria, which I got that name from some cooking show. I don't remember what it was. Here's Yai, Ingva, Zeto, who's inspired by the Weemy Guys Me, Oshan, and Cho. And yeah, that's all of them.